Let's take notes now. Setting goals. The promise of the future is a powerful force. We look back to learn from experience, but now we must look forward to find inspiration. And what gives us that inspiration to wake up each morning, to do our job, to learn new skills, to develop ourselves to our highest potential is exactly that, the promise of the future. And that promise can be so powerful, it can overcome any adversity you might face, any obstacle in your way. Here's a key phrase. Reasons make the difference in how your life turns out. Reasons make the difference in your energy, in your drive to take on challenges, to do the work, to become successful. Mr. Schaff used to say, if you have enough reasons, you can do the most incredible things. You can get through the toughest day. You can overcome the most unimaginable obstacles if your reasons are strong enough. And then he said to me, if you don't have a list of goals, Mr. Rohn, it's probably because you don't have enough reasons. And he added, I'm sure ever since I met you that you have enough intelligence, that you're in good health, that you have many things going for you. But what you need now is to work on having enough reasons. Look into the future and develop those reasons. Write this down. It's essential to make sure that the greatest pull in your life isn't the past, it's the future. Some people allow the past to pull them backward, to drag them down like gravity, and if you let it, it will pull you back. Some people live in the past, in the darkness of past mistakes, in disappointment, in regret. They failed once, and let that define the rest of their lives. They live anchored to what didn't work out, and that's no way to move forward. So we must not let the past control us. We can't let it keep us stuck. And for that, here's something to remember. Dreams and goals can become magnets. Yes, magnets that attract you towards something greater. And the stronger your goal, the higher the purpose, the more powerful the objective. The stronger that magnet becomes, and the harder it pulls you in that direction. But here's the beauty of it. Goals don't just pull you forward. They also pull you through. They pull you through the hard days, the low points, the emotional winters of your life. When things seem confusing or overwhelming, a strong enough goal will pull you through. Some people get lost in the fog of today simply because their goal isn't bright enough to shine through it. Goals are also what motivate us to take full advantage of the springtime. Ask yourself, why would a farmer put the plow into the soil in the spring if he couldn't already see the harvest in his mind even before summer's end? Is it possible to see the end result before it happens? Yes, and we do that through faith. Key phrase, faith is the ability to see what does not yet exist. Work on your list of reasons. One of the most powerful forces for success is having a strong enough why. In leadership training, I learned a phrase that stuck with me. If the why is powerful, the how becomes easy. When your goal is clear and your purpose burns inside you, the methods, the steps, the tools, they all start to fall into place. But if your why is weak, if your vision is blurry, then any excuse will be enough to give up. Like the old prophet said, without vision, the people perish. Without a dream, we lose our way. Without a goal that inspires us, we stop living. We just exist. We stayed because we were committed. We left because we were disillusioned. But we came back because we were lost without a dream. And that's the truth. Without a dream, we are nothing. When your why becomes big, strong, powerful, the how becomes simple. How do you manage your time? It's easy. If your goal truly matters, you'll find a way to manage it. You'll read a book, attend a seminar, ask for help. You'll do whatever it takes. But if the goal isn't meaningful enough, if there's no real passion behind it, then it will always be easy to say, I don't have time. So the question isn't just what do you want? It's why do you want it? Maybe one of your goals is to have $1 million home on the hill overlooking the valley. And that's fine. It's a good goal. But here's the real question. What for? What does that home represent? Because a house is just bricks, wood, walls, and a roof. But the purpose behind it is what really drives you. So write this down. Purpose is stronger than object. Let me say it again. Purpose is stronger than object. It's perfectly okay to have many goals on your list. A house, a car, a business, income. But always ask yourself this question. What do I want it for? What does it mean to me? It helps to write it out. I want this money because, or I want to achieve this goal because. When you start developing those reasons, you begin to build a powerful foundation for success. And now, the next exercise. Look at the list of goals you've written, all those aspirations and objectives. And now, answer this question. What kind of person do I need to become to achieve all of this? Now we have two forces working for us. What you accomplish helps you grow, and the more you grow, the more you can accomplish. The more capable you become, the greater your results, and the greater your results, the more you expand. It's a powerful cycle. But now it's time for some honesty with yourself. What do you need to improve? Do you need to become wiser, more disciplined, healthier, more focused? Maybe you need a mentor, a coach, someone to guide you toward becoming the kind of person who can achieve what you want. Maybe you need training, physical training, emotional training, financial coaching, spiritual development to become the kind of person who can attract what you want into your life, the people, the opportunities, the experiences. You need to build a strong identity, a solid reputation, a character that aligns with your goals. So go back to that question. What kind of person do I need to be to attract the people, the situations, and the results I truly want? And here's another essential tip. Don't set your goals too low. Don't join a crowd where the expectations are minimal. You won't grow there. Go where the standards are high, where excellence is expected, where people are serious about progress, because that environment will force you to become more, to stretch, to evolve. When you're surrounded by excellence, yes, you'll feel pressure, you'll be challenged, but that pressure shapes you, forces growth, and prepares you for greatness. If you want to live at the summit, you have to accept the demands of the summit. And at the top, only excellence is expected. But don't confuse excellence with perfection. Excellence simply means growth. It means that every day you become more focused, more intentional, more disciplined than the day before. And that tomorrow, you'll be better than you were today. So once again, return to the key question. Who must I become to deserve this goal? Maybe you need to be more organized, more resilient, more patient, more curious, and every one of those qualities can be developed over time, with effort, with intention. And this is where most people give up. They want the result without the transformation, they want the reward without becoming the person who earns it, but life doesn't work that way. So write down your goals, yes, but next to each one, write this. Who must I become to deserve this? And repeat that question to yourself every day. Because remember, success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Now, let's go a little deeper into the power of asking. This may sound simple, but it's one of the most overlooked, and at the same time, most powerful skills you can ever develop. The first thing you need to understand is this. Asking starts the receiving process. It's like flipping a switch that activates an entire invisible machinery of ideas, energy, people, and circumstances that begin moving in your favor. You don't need to understand how every gear turns. Just press the switch. You don't have to understand exactly how electricity works to turn on the light. You just have to flip the switch. Same with asking. Just do it. The problem is, most people work hard. They show up. They put in the effort. But they never stop to write down what they really want from life. And then, by the end of the year, they look back and realize they were busy, but not directed. They were active, but not aligned. They were good workers, but poor askers. And that's a costly mistake. So let me say it again. Receiving is not the issue. Receiving is automatic. The challenge is in asking clearly, intentionally, with purpose. If you're not asking, meaning if you're not defining, writing down, revisiting, then don't be surprised when nothing shows up. Imagine the ocean, vast and abundant, and you show up to it with a teaspoon. Do you see the irony? People walk through life asking for just enough to get by when the universe is overflowing with opportunity. Life doesn't limit you. Your belief system does. So here's my suggestion. In view of the size of the ocean, trade your teaspoon for a bucket. Go bigger, expect more, believe more, ask for more, because there is more. But remember, asking is not just wishing. There are two essential ways to ask. The first is asking with intelligence. What does that mean? It means being specific, detailed, precise. Don't mumble your desires, speak them clearly. Don't say, I want success. Say, I want to earn $100,000 in the next 12 months from my business. Don't say, I want a better life. Say exactly what better means to you. The more specific your goals, the stronger the magnetic pull they'll have on you. Well-defined goals are like magnets. The clearer they are, the more they pull. And don't forget, you must answer both questions. What do I want? And what do I want it for? Because remember, purpose is stronger than object. Having the object, the house, the car, the income, will pull you forward. But it's the purpose behind it, the meaning, that gives it real power. The second way to ask is to ask with faith. This is where most people hesitate because they've lost the childlike confidence they once had. Asking with faith means asking like a child, with full belief that what you want is possible, with energy, with enthusiasm, with joy. Children believe everything is possible. They're excited to wake up, excited to learn, to discover, to ask 1,000 questions. And even when they don't get the answer they want, they ask again and again and again. We need to get that back. We need to ask for our goals with the same excitement and certainty children use when they ask for what they want. Because faith isn't passive, it's fuel. Faith activates your creativity, it energizes your decisions, it changes how you walk, how you speak, how you face challenges, and curiosity is a part of it too. Children don't just ask, they explore. They ask what, why, how, when, and that's how they learn. If you want to grow, be curious again. Ask more, explore more, dig deeper. So here's a practical exercise. Write your list of goals, at least 10, but don't stop there. Next to each one, write what you want and what you want it for. I want this because, and finish the sentence. This turns your list into something powerful, personal, magnetic, and don't let it collect dust. Review it daily, read it every morning, feel it, visualize it, because what you revisit consistently becomes a part of you. And once it becomes a part of you, it begins to manifest in your reality. The truth is, very few people do this consistently. Most only think about goals in January or during a tough time, and then forget. But if you commit to doing this regularly, you'll be among that rare 5% who actually design their life instead of leaving it to chance. Goal setting isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It's the foundation for a life of clarity, purpose, and intentional growth. Because without vision, people lose direction. Without goals, we drift. But with a clear future, designed with care and purpose, we are pulled forward through the obstacles, through the doubts, through the delays. Remember, asking starts the receiving. Ask with intelligence, ask with faith, ask with enthusiasm, and above all, ask with purpose. Now let's move on to another key principle. You must have a clear picture of what you're doing with the resources you already have. This is one of the most overlooked fundamentals in goal setting, and yet one of the most powerful. Everyone has something already. Time, energy, income, talent, relationships, experience, and the real question is, what are you doing with it? You don't need to wait for more time, more money, or more opportunities to start moving. You already have something. The question is, are you using it wisely, intentionally, with strategy? Brian Tracy often said, start with what you have, from where you are, and do the best you can with that. Because here's the truth. If you can't manage a little, you won't be able to manage a lot. Many people say, I'll start once I have more time, or I'll invest once I have more money. But if you're not using your current resources wisely, you won't suddenly become smart and strategic just because you have more. So ask yourself, what am I doing with my time? How am I investing my energy? What am I doing with the income I already earn? How am I using the relationships I already have access to? Your management of current resources reflects your vision for the future, because how you handle what you have now is exactly how you'll handle what's coming, unless you change the pattern. And this starts early. We should teach children what to do with a single dollar. If a child receives $1 and spends it all right away, that's the beginning of a habit. And that habit, if left unchecked, will likely follow them for life. If they don't learn to divide, save, invest, and share early on, they won't suddenly figure it out when they're adults and earning more. Money habits, time habits, emotional habits, they begin small, but they scale with us. That's why it's critical to have a personal management plan. A plan for your finances, for your time, for your energy, for your personal growth. Brian Tracy had a phrase I'll never forget. Take care of the goose that lays the golden eggs. And who's the goose? You. Your mind, your body, your well-being, your discipline. If you don't take care of yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, how will you ever be in the right shape to produce value, to build success, to sustain growth? Part of taking care of yourself means being a good steward of what you earn. Contribute to society, pay your taxes, invest in businesses, support charities, save consistently, and build your financial base. Not for status, but for stability and strength. Having a plan for your current resources is what ensures that by the time you're 65, you won't end up like most people, tired, broke, and dependent. Instead, you'll have abundance, freedom, and the joy of giving back. So again, ask yourself today, what am I doing with what I already have? And now we move into another critical point. You must have a consistent plan to acquire knowledge. This is not about waiting for inspiration or hoping to stumble upon great ideas. This is about deliberately, consistently, and purposefully chasing wisdom. Most people come across good ideas by accident. Maybe they hear something by chance or read something once in a while, but that's not a system. That's luck, and luck is not a strategy. You need a daily, intentional plan for learning. Attend conferences, listen to seminars, read books, write down ideas, study people who are ahead of you, and always carry something to capture those ideas. A journal, a notepad, anything. Because it's not enough to hear something powerful. You must record it, review it, reflect on it, apply it. That's how you turn information into transformation. And if you do this consistently, daily, purposefully, it will put you in the top 5%. And not just financially, but intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. Want to know how many people do this? Very few. And that's why you will stand out if you commit to it. Good ideas rarely interrupt you. They have to be pursued. They live in books, in deep conversations, in new experiences, in places most people don't bother to look. So make it a habit. Read every day, even if it's just 15 minutes. Study topics that matter. Invest in your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. And when you find something valuable, don't trust your memory. Write it down. Make it yours. There's a powerful quote worth repeating. Seek, and you shall find. But the key is to seek intentionally, not passively. So remember, building a life of purpose, driven by goals and guided by clear principles, requires a consistent plan for learning, for managing your resources, and for growing daily. Now let's move into another fundamental. You need a detailed plan for the use of your working time. We call this a game plan. Most people try to design their days, weeks, or months only in their head, improvising as they go. But here's the truth, that rarely works. And even more alarming, many people don't even think ahead at all. Their entire plan is, I wake up, I go to work, I come home, I repeat, and that's it. But if you want to rise above average, if you want to truly create success, you must have a game plan for your time, for your work, for your family, for your finances, for your personal growth. Your family needs a plan, your business needs a plan, your life needs a plan. In leadership seminars, we teach exactly how to build this structure. A plan for the day, for the week, for the month, even for the next 6 months or a year. And the reason is simple. What you fail to plan, you will inevitably neglect. And what you neglect will eventually deteriorate. Doing business around the world, I've seen it over and over again. When there isn't a detailed plan, something critical always gets missed. Details matter. And this discipline of planning, of structuring, of reviewing is what separates the top 5% from everyone else. Because most people don't do it. They drift, they react, they live in constant firefighting mode, always dealing with emergencies, always caught up in distractions, always busy but rarely effective. Having a game plan moves you from reactive to proactive, from random activity to purposeful action. And that shift alone can change the course of your life. I remember when I was 25 years old and I met my mentor, Mr. Schoaf. One of the first lessons he gave me was this: Jim, if you want to do better, you must get around the right people. And I can tell you, he was absolutely right. The people you spend time with can accelerate your growth or sabotage it. They can lift you higher or hold you down. Association matters, environment matters, influence matters. Let me give you a phrase to write down. Never underestimate the power of influence. The man says, I live here, but it doesn't affect me. Not true. He says, I work with them, but they don't change me. Also, not true. Whoever you're around, whoever you listen to, whoever you spend your hours with, they are influencing you in ways you may not even notice. That influence can be subtle, but it's constant. It shapes your attitude, your thinking, your decisions, and eventually, your results. That's why this is the perfect moment to take inventory of your associations. Ask yourself, who am I around the most? What do they talk about? What do they read? What do they value? What are they pulling me toward? And if the answer is discouragement, negativity, gossip, or small thinking, then it's time to make adjustments. You can't afford to let that be your dominant influence. Seek out people who talk about ideas, about growth, about success, about principles, people who read, who study, who are disciplined, who stretch themselves, because that kind of influence will elevate you. Now, let me be realistic. I know sometimes you can't avoid being around negativity. Maybe at your workplace, maybe even in your family. And that's fine, that's part of life. But here's the key. You must counterbalance it. If you spend 8 hours a day surrounded by negative people, then you need at least 1 or 2 hours of strong positive influence to balance it out. Through books, audios, seminars, mentors, conversations with people who inspire you. You need to create your own circle of influence, your own environment of growth, and protect it like gold. Because here's the reality. If you don't deliberately choose your influences, they will choose you. And most likely, they won't take you where you want to go. When I first started listening to my mentor, I didn't understand everything. Sometimes the ideas felt too simple, other times too advanced. But I kept listening, I kept taking notes, I kept exposing myself to that environment. And here's what happened. Little by little, the seeds took root. One day, something clicked, and suddenly what once felt complicated became clear. That's the power of repeated exposure to the right influence. So don't worry if at first you don't grasp it all. Don't worry if you don't see immediate results. Just stay around the right voices, the right ideas, the right people, and let time do its work. Because exposure to excellence reshapes you even when you don't notice it. Let me leave you with this thought. You can't escape influence. It's always happening. The only choice you have is whether that influence is positive or negative. So surround yourself with people who inspire you, who demand more of you, who won't let you settle. Because when your associations change, your conversations change. And when your conversations change, your mindset changes. And when your mindset changes, your entire destiny begins to change. Now let's talk about another fundamental principle. You cannot do it all alone. You need the right people in your life. Yes, but you also need to learn how to seek guidance, how to ask for help, how to find mentors. One of the most powerful lessons I learned from my mentor was this. Life accelerates when you find someone who has already walked the path and is willing to show you the way. Yes, you can figure things out by yourself. Yes, you can learn from trial and error. But why take the long, painful road when someone else has already gone ahead and mapped out the way? Mentors don't just save you time, they save you years. And this applies to every area of your life. In health, you need coaches and role models. In business, you need mentors. In personal development, you need teachers. In spirituality, you need guides. So here's a powerful question to ask yourself. Who do I need in my life to achieve this goal? Who should I be listening to? Who should I spend more time with? And who should I spend less time with? Because make no mistake, your goals will require growth, and growth is accelerated by the right voices and the right environments. But here's another truth. Achieving a big goal isn't only about strategies and tactics. It also requires character. You need discipline, integrity, consistency. Because opportunities can come, but they don't stay if you're not prepared. Have you ever seen someone get a great opportunity, only to lose it quickly? Maybe they had the talent, but not the habits. Maybe they had the ambition, but not the discipline. Maybe they had the desire, but not the consistency. That's why every goal you set isn't just about giving you something, it's about making you someone. And here's the key. What you achieve will change your circumstances, but who you become will change your destiny. A house can be lost, a business can fail, a bank account can dry up. But the skills, the discipline, the mindset, the wisdom you develop along the way, those can never be taken from you. And with those, you can rebuild everything. So don't focus only on what you're going to get. Focus on who you're going to become, because when you grow, your results grow with you. Write this down. Success is something you attract by the person you become. This is why it's not enough to set easy goals. Don't set the bar too low. If your goals don't stretch you, they won't change you. If they don't challenge you, they won't develop you. Don't settle for being in a group where expectations are minimal. In those environments, you'll stay comfortable, but you won't grow. Go where the standards are high, where excellence is the culture, where accountability is real. Yes, it will feel uncomfortable at first. Yes, you will feel pressure. But that pressure is what molds you, shapes you, and prepares you for greatness. If you want to live on the summit, you must accept the demands of the summit. And remember, excellence doesn't mean perfection. It means progress. It means showing up every day, moving forward consistently, being a little better today than yesterday, and even better tomorrow. So here's the critical question to keep in mind. Who do I need to become to achieve this? Maybe you need to become more disciplined, maybe more organized, maybe more resilient, maybe healthier, maybe more curious, more humble, more willing to learn. The truth is, every quality you need can be developed, but you must be willing to work at it. And this is where most people fall short. They want the result, but not the transformation. They want the reward without paying the price. They want success without becoming the kind of person success demands. But life doesn't work like that. So here's a practical exercise. For every goal you've written down, ask yourself, who must I become to deserve this? And write that down too. Because when you answer that honestly, and when you commit to that growth daily, then nothing will stop you. Your goals will guide your actions, but who you become will guarantee your results. Remember, success is not pursued, it is attracted. And it is attracted by the person you intentionally build yourself into every single day. Now let's return to one of the most overlooked but absolutely essential principles in the goal-setting process, the art of asking and receiving. On the surface, it seems simple. Ask, and you will receive. But in practice, very few people ever truly do this the right way. Remember what I said earlier. Asking is the beginning of receiving. It's like pushing a button that activates a whole system. Mental systems, emotional systems, even spiritual systems that begin to move things in your direction. And here's the key. You don't have to understand every detail of how it works. You don't need to figure out every step of the process ahead of time. All you need to do is press the button, start asking. But here's the tragedy. Most people never ask. They work, they struggle, they hustle, but they never actually stop to define exactly what they want from life. And then, years later, they realize they've been working hard, but going nowhere in particular. They were busy, yes, but without direction. They were active, but not effective. They were good workers, but poor askers. And that is the real problem, because receiving is not the problem. Receiving is automatic. The problem is failing to ask. Think about this image. The ocean is vast, endless, overflowing, but most people show up to it with a teaspoon. Can you see the absurdity? Coming to a limitless ocean with a tiny spoon. Why? Because they never believed they could ask for more. They never dared to dream bigger, to expect greater, to raise their standards. So here's my advice. In view of the size of the ocean, at least bring a bucket, or better yet, a barrel. Raise your asking, raise your expectations, raise your capacity. Life doesn't limit you. Your vision of yourself does. But let's be very clear. Asking is not simply wishing or hoping. There are two powerful ways to ask, and both are necessary. The first way is asking with intelligence. This means being specific, detailed, clear. Don't mumble your goals. Don't keep them vague. Define them. Don't just say, I want more money. Say, I want to earn $100,000 within the next 12 months from my business, and here's why. Don't just say, I want to be healthier. Say, I will run a 10K marathon by September, weighing 180 pounds, with the energy to keep up with my kids. The clearer you are, the stronger the pull, because well-defined goals are like magnets. They don't just pull you forward, they pull you through. And here's the other critical piece. Answer both questions. What do I want? And what do I want it for? Because remember, purpose is stronger than object. The house, the car, the income. Those are objects, and they do have power. But the meaning behind them, the purpose, that is what truly drives you. The second way to ask is asking with faith. This is where most adults struggle, because somewhere along the way, they lost the childlike belief they once had. Children ask with total confidence. They believe everything is possible. They wake up excited. They can't wait for the day. They're curious, they're enthusiastic, they're relentless in their questions. And that's exactly how you need to ask for your goals. With faith, with certainty, with excitement, with childlike belief. Faith is not passive. Faith is fuel. Faith is what energizes your actions, what sparks your creativity, what gives you endurance. So when you ask, don't ask timidly. Ask boldly. Don't whisper your dreams. Declare them. Don't doubt your worthiness. Believe in it. And let's add another ingredient, curiosity. Kids don't stop at one question. They keep asking what, why, when, how. And though it may drive adults crazy, it's actually one of the greatest virtues, because curiosity is how you learn, how you grow, how you discover. So cultivate that same relentless curiosity in your own life. Ask questions of yourself, of others, of life. Ask and keep asking, because the more questions you ask, the more answers you receive. Now let me give you a practical exercise. Take out your list of goals. For each one, write it clearly. What do I want? Then next to it, write the purpose. Why do I want it? Do this honestly, specifically, passionately, and then read it every single day. Repeat it to yourself, visualize it, imagine yourself living it. Because what you repeat becomes part of you, and what becomes part of you eventually shows up in your reality. The truth is, most people don't do this. They think about goals once a year, maybe around New Year's, they set vague resolutions and then forget them. And that's why most lives never change, because vague goals lead to vague results. But if you commit to this process, writing, clarifying, asking intelligently, asking with faith, revisiting daily, then you will put yourself in that rare 5% of people who actually design their lives instead of just accepting whatever comes. Goal setting is not a casual exercise. It's a fundamental discipline. It's not about maybe. It's about direction, purpose, clarity, power. Because without vision, people wander. Without goals, we drift. But with a well-designed future, with goals written, reviewed, and lived, you'll have a force pulling you forward that no obstacle can stop. Remember, asking starts the process. Asking with intelligence gives you clarity. Asking with faith gives you energy. Asking with purpose gives you power. So ask boldly, intelligently, faithfully, purposefully, and watch as the process of receiving begins to transform your life.